everyone, this is Farooq and this is a very special video. I'm actually in Stanley Park in Vancouver. This is a beautiful park. In case you do get a chance, do not forget to visit this place. It's spread over 1,000 acres, and the reason I'm posting this on YouTube is because Stanley Park has something called the Totem Poles. That's part of the First Nations tradition, their art. It represents their art and culture. So today we're going to go over there. We're going to look at how and what is it made of, what's the art about, and everything related to that. And in the meantime, I'll also show you a few places in Stanley Park. Like I mentioned, it's beautiful. I'm already loving it. So I hope you get a chance to visit here sometime, and I hope you like this video. For those who are studying or have studied the Canadian literature, you are well aware of how the indigenous population, the indigenous literature culture of the First Nations has contributed a lot to the Canadian literature of the present times. You have people right from Atwood and the other writers who have been talking about the cultures of the First Nations. And this is an important piece of art that belongs to the First Nations, and I think it's important for us to go ahead and do a little bit of reading, a little research on their contribution to in shaping the Canadian society of the present times. The totem poles are about 16 minutes walk from the bus. There are different ways to get into the park. You could either drive, take a bus, or the SkyTrain until a certain point, and then the bus, or you could also hire out a bicycle and move around in the park in the cycle. We are on foot today, so we hope to reach there in about 10 minutes. Right, this is called the Stanley Drive, and it's about 4 minutes walk from here. In case you do get a chance to come over here, it's better to come on a cycle. You can ride on the way there next to the ocean. And this is where there's a little bit of a ground playing. Oh, they're playing cricket in Canada. That's a sight you don't get to see quite often. I'm really interested in looking at that. There is a marathon going on today in Vancouver, so you see a lot of people running around through this. I'm sure this is a beautiful run as well because you're passing through Stanley Park. It's quite beautiful. That's the lighthouse. There's a trivia. I think there are three flags. The one on the right you see is the flag of the British Columbia, the province where Vancouver is situated. Of course, the one in the middle is the Canadian flag, and one on the left is the Union Jack. That's basically because Canada is a Commonwealth nation, and that's why we have the Union Jack over here. There we go. We have the signboard that says Totem Poles. That's where we are heading to. It should take about 3 minutes from here. Alright, so we are finally here, Totem Poles, and let's go in and learn something interesting today. These were included in the park in 2008 after working on this for about 3 years when the local people from the First Nations were given these given the assignment to complete the work. But there we have it. We have a total of 9 poles that belongs to the Squamish Nation. A little bit of read up on that. So it says it was raised in 2009. Pole was created to honor Rose Cole Yelton, her family, and all those who lived in Stanley Park. It was erected in front of the house site where the Cole family lived in 1935. Until 1935, until the time of her passing in 2000, Rose was the last surviving resident of the Brockton community. This, I'm guessing, just the entrance. We will go into and look at each one of these poles. Let's start with the one here on the far right. Here we have the beaver crest pole, which was carved in 1987 by an artist called Nisinga artist Norman Tate, along with his son Isaac and brother Robert, nephew, and everybody else. And that's the one in the left. That is the beaver crest pole. Okay, this one, the one in black, the closer one, this is called the Oscar Maltby pole, which was carved by artist Oscar Maltby in 1968. He's a Quaker artist. Right. Basically talks about how there are stories of animals and the supernatural beings who helped find the family lineages. So there's a thunderbird, there's a killer whale. Right on the top is the thunderbird and the killer whale at the bottom. Let's zoom it up a little. Right, the pole in the middle is a ceremonial one, and this is called the Chief Waka's pole. Let's zoom it up a little. Right on the top there is a thunderbird, and then there's a killer whale in the middle, the wolf, the wise one, a mythical bird whose beak you can see in the middle. That's called Shukswa. Then there's a bear and the raven at the bottom. Now, a little bit about this. Carved staffs called talking sticks are held by people making important speeches on behalf of a chief. So that's why it was this ceremonial pole. This is called the Kakasulas, and stands to represent somebody from whom advice is sought. Now it says the carver Ellen Neal and her uncle were the first artists to achieve wide recognition for their poles, commissioned by museums who were part of the Quaquaka peoples. And the tall pole at the end is the Sky Chief pole. One in the middle, yeah. Right, so the one in the middle, this is called the Coxtelas, and again the stand to represent various beings there. It's some information mentioned here. We have right on the top the legendary bird who knows, and there's a red cedar bark man with cano neck just below the bird. And there's the double-headed serpent, this sweetie, killer whale, raven, the grizzly bear over man's head, and the giantess. Is mentioned as Chief Skedan's mortuary hole. We'll just get to the details in a bit. So that's the details. We have a moon, a chief's crest, a mountain goat, grizzly bear, and the whale that it represents. Okay, so the game of cricket is going on right over here. I have no clue who's playing whom, but let's just go back to the poles. I'm sure you can see this portals sort of thing, like the arch sort of thing. There are totally 3 of them that welcome the visitors here at the Brockton Point Center, and these belong to the traditional Coast Salish people. And some of the names that I got to know, that's something that we need to keep in mind, is the Coast Salish artist Susan Point collaborated with the Coast Salish Arts, a Vancouver Storyscapes, which is a social planning project to encourage the indigenous people to share their culture and their traditions, and also the Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tesliel Watut First Nations. So I'm not really sure of the pronunciations. I apologize if there are any errors in that. This is the second board that welcomes the visitors over here, and that's the third over there. Now this sculpture right here, it's carved in cedar and then cast in bronze. It's a tribute to the connection between the Aboriginals of this area and the Portuguese community, and this is overlooking this beautiful river right over here, and in fact it's the ocean. Alright, so this is it. These are the totem poles and the beautiful Stanley Park that you got to see today. I hope you liked it, because I loved every bit of it, and I hope you will like the video and share it with your family and friends. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel for more on literature. Thank you very much.